We're going to paint this picture from back to front really, so we're going to start off with the sky, and I've got a very big brush here, the largest I've got, and just putting on some raw sienna and adding around that some ultramarine blue. Now this is a very light colour. They're coming out darker at the moment because of course the washes dry lighter, and so just plopping that on, very wet. The paint's really running down the board, which is on quite a slope really. And what I want to do is to avoid going back into this in any way, shape or form, because I want the sky to remain pale and fresh, and so I just want to allow it to do its own thing. Now if I've missed some little white patches there, that doesn't really matter because it'll all add to the effect. What I mustn't do is go back in with the brush, because if I do that I'll then create cauliflowers and smudges and marks, and the sky will be a mess. I want it to keep as clear as possible. So that's that, and while I've got the big brush, might as well put in the ground as well and allow the two things to merge together. So I mix up some more raw sienna and just pop that in onto the ground here. Just tie the tree in a little bit. It'll all sort of blend in and just give a nice colour to the background. It'll knock out any white that's on the paper there. Just take it over the bank on this side. There we go, and I'm leaving the path because I just want to bring a little bit of the sky colour down into the path just to tie the two elements together. So there we are, and we'll let that all dry. Now I can come in with the skyline in the background, the mountain ridge, the hills there, and come in with a little bit of like purple colour. Just ease that down with a damp brush, just to lighten it a little bit towards the bottom, and or there's a little bit pop in on the other side of the tree over here. There we go. And then there's a sort of raw sienna-y patch that's just down below that on the picture, so I'll just add that in, just a little touch of colour. I'm looking fairly carefully at the original painting and working from that. So even though we're working fast and loose, it's not sloppy. It's actually working fairly carefully, but quite quickly. And then there's a sort of a dark green patch here, which is a hedgerow or something. So I'm just going to add that in loosely and let it touch now and again, and let it mist now and again in the background, so we get some nice effects there. So we'll just pop that in and just allow it to merge wet in places to make the hedgerow. And then again we'll just let that dry. Time now for some of these background bushes. So I've got some burnt sienna this time, and just coming in to create masses of colour. Really want to just do this quite quickly again, and we're just producing one colour really for each mass of bushes that's there. We're not going to fiddle around too much with it. I just really want to keep it nice and simple, and to separate the masses of foliage out either with little lines that are left as we don't let the colours touch, or by separate colours. Well, I've got this burnt sienna on the brush, come over here and do this patch as well. It's always good to work fast. If you've just got one colour on the brush, you put it down and on the paper wherever you see that colour. It says washing the brush out. A little touch of a very dark, almost black colour here, ultramarine and burnt sienna mixed together, makes a nice coloured dark. Just coming in here with this just to feed in and just darken the bases of some of these patches. And I use the same colour on the trunk of the tree as well in a moment, just to tie everything together. Using very few colours here, as you can see. There's just two or three colours for the whole picture. Putting in this lovely shadow that just creeps up the bank there, and then we'll just tie that into the top with a little bit of colour here, just another bit of bush there, a bit of raw sienna, just tied in there. Time now for the tree, and coming in with this very dark colour, just loosely putting in the right hand side of the tree really, which is in the shade, and as it comes down and meets the dark patch at the bottom there on the bushes behind, it'll just blend into those and have a lovely lost edge there. And then just want to put in a bit of colour on the left hand side of the tree, leaving a little patch of white in the middle just for the sunshine on it, but just want to put in a little bit of very pale purpley colour there, the background hill colour, just to give the tree a bit of shape. And then back again with a smaller brush this time, and with a very dark colour again, just pop in some of these branches that go onto the tree. This is a lovely thing to do, just not really following lines particularly, just working away, allowing the brush just to drag across the paper and make its own marks really. If you lose that little bit, that just all adds to the effect as well, but it's just allowing the paper just to do its own thing really, and the brush to do its own thing, and just to create these lovely branches on these trees. This painting is about lots of things really, but this sort of area of trees on the right hand side just creates a lovely pattern against the sky, and I guess they're really largely what it's about, although your eye is led up the path and through the gate. Now just putting in the massive foliage here, just with the side of the brush there, and a bit of raw sienna just spotted in really in places, just where we think might need a bit, just drag on a little bit of paint here and there, just to create the tiny twigs and leaves that are there. And with a small brush again, just coming in to put in the fence post. Again, it's just a very dark colour, and there we go, just pop that in very simply. Make it all as varied as possible, no straight lines, just a bit of interest there. And while I've still got the small brush and that paint, we'll put in these little twigs on the right hand side, which just neatly complement the trees on the other side. You see the picture will be very bare without these bits. But this just complements what's going on the other side, and draws the eye down again to the path and through the break in the gate. Just sort of frames it really. And again, we just want to put on some little twigs and bits of leaves and things at the top there. So again, just dragging the brush very lightly with some very pale paint on. Just drag it sideways. This is a technique that Weston used a lot on his bushes and trees, just that drag mark, and it just does the job really. Finishing off with a few little bits, a little bit of a bush up there just to make that a little bit more interesting, and a bit of shadowing on the path, and I think we just put a little bit of shadow on the right hand side here as well, and that just finishes off the picture nicely.